Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Well, it seems like this story isn't going away anytime soon, and therefore here we have an update of Qasem Soleimani, seeing as our Prime Minister will not lament Iranian general's death. Next, they're going to say he was an austere religious scholar. Yes, no, he was barbaric, rose to prominence in the Iraqi war, is I'd almost go as far as to say evil, but it's fair to say he was a terrorist, and the world is better off for him being dead. But no, he was just a general. He was clearly a respected man, and it was bad to take him out. So it seems like the BBC are following in Corbyn's footsteps of just siding with anyone who is Britain's enemy, and of course going against anyone who actually wants the best for Britain or is a friend. So, Boris Johnson has said, "We will not lament the death of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, describing him as a threat to all our interests." Perfect, well done. But the Prime Minister called for de-escalation from all sides following the killing in a US airstrike in Iraq on Friday. Mr Johnson's statement comes as Iraqi MPs call for foreign troops to leave. As it's understandable they would, and they can't handle that level of embarrassment, even though they didn't need a ground war to take out the general. The terrorist, I suppose I should refer to him as. But yes, well done, Johnson, then, to try and be more level-headed than your American counterpart, to say, okay, yes, job done, and it's good that he's gone, but let's allow time to recover, let's have some time and space, and we will see what we can do afterwards if they can be more level-headed. However, the pushback to that very moderate statement would be to say, well, you shouldn't give them time to try and launch a counter-attack. At this point, in for a penny, in for a pound. Vietnam proved that you can't win the hearts and minds, and it's just going to get a hell of a lot worse. So if you want to do something, then get it over with. So, and it's not as if they don't have good reason for it, and I think it's safe to say that a ground war is never beneficial. And say, oh, well, they hide in the mountains as well, they have the terrain advantage. And, well, yes, but seeing as the West has the technological advantage, if we actually want to go to war with them, then let's actually do it properly. We have so many advancements, technological advantages, that we may as well use them, otherwise what's the point in having them? With tensions rising in the region following the drone strike ordered by US President Donald Trump, Iran has responded by vowing revenge and announcing it will no longer abide by the restrictions in its 2015 nuclear deal. The one which was rather lackluster, not least as it was negotiated by Obama, and Trump didn't want to go ahead with anyway. So that's basically saying nothing. That's like China creating their own pollution goals at G20 summits. So saying, yes, by 2030 we'll reduce it by 4%, because as it happens, we actually want to go over to nuclear, and then we want to export a load of solar panels, so we're going to be using them as well. So that's what we intend to do, and we'll let you know that. So I guess it sounds like we're actually trying, even though our target's going to be a lot lower than everybody else's, and it's not as if we're doing anything special to change that, it's just that's our predictions of what will happen if we don't intervene. So it's rather like that. Oh yeah, we're going to lash out. So, well, no, you're not really doing anything, are you? It's like a child doing something bad, and before they can get grounded, just saying, yeah, I don't want to talk to you, I'm going to my room. Like, yeah, well done. That's what was going to happen anyway. Good job. Mr Johnson said he has spoken on Sunday with Mr Trump and the leaders of France and Germany about the death of the Iranian terrorist who spearheaded the country's military operations in the Middle East as head of the elite Quds force. Case in point, in his first public statement since Soleimani's death, the Prime Minister said the 62-year-old had been responsible for a pattern of disruptive, destabilising behaviour in the region. Yeah, terrorist. Given the leading role he has played in actions that have led to the deaths of thousands of innocent civilians and Western personnel, we will not lament his death. It is clear, however, that all calls for retaliation or reprisals will simply lead to more violence in the region, and they are in no one's interest. That is a very diplomatic way of basically telling Iran, say, hey, don't try anything stupid because the USA will take you out. And he's not really saying anything to the US. It's like, let's just address this equally, saying bad people on many sides, but actually have this pointed in one direction. Downing Street said the Prime Minister was faced criticism for considering his holiday in the Caribbean following the attack back in the UK on Sunday. Yeah, I don't care. He was in close contact with all sides. He was still doing his job when he was in the Caribbean. It's just nice to have a change in scenery. And similarly, for things like exercise, as most politicians could do with having a bit more of. But exercise, meditation, even yoga, things like that. You might say, oh, but that takes them out of their duties. They're now spending an hour when they could be doing the work. It's like, well, sure, except now it makes the work that they do that much more impactful because they're that much more effective in their work. The same as taking a step away, as counterintuitive as it might be, that you do need some time away from your work in order to then do better work once you're back. So I don't hold that against them at all, and I think that's understandable and fair enough. And in fact, I would encourage him to do more in the sense of exercise. So go on, Johnson, get on the treadmill. Let's see you buff. I suppose Schwarzenegger was the one who really bucked the trend on that one. So about 400 British troops are stationed in Iraq, while the US is 5,200. Bigger and better. The UK government spokesman said the coalition forces were in Iraq to protect its people and others from the Islamic State group. Yeah. Take them out over there, they won't come over here. Doesn't seem to be working though, does it? We urge the Iraqi government to ensure the coalition is able to continue our vital work countering this shared threat. Meanwhile, and this is more important, HMS Montrose and HMS Defender are to start accompanying UK flag ships through the Strait of Hormuz in the Gulf, where a tanker was seized by Iran last July. Yes, we try and negotiate with them, whereas America just gets closer and closer to them with their fleet and say, hand it over or we will shoot you, hand it over or we will shoot you, hand it over or we will shoot you, you're not handing it over, we will now shoot you, we will now mount you with dozens of Marines, and we will take you out individually. And that's what they do, and it tends to be very effective for them. I'm surprised the pilots haven't learned their lessons yet, but that's why they go for Britain instead of America now. So yes, hopefully Britain will actually retaliate with a more effective response. Dominic Raab, and I still think of him, just the nickname I heard of him, Demonic Raab. I'm sorry, but it's a nice nickname. Demonic Raab defended the killing because of the US's right to self-defense against Soleimani's use of militias to destabilize the region and attack Western forces. As they continue to do, they've killed more personnel since the attack in their retaliation, but they were doing that before, so I don't know if it's really retaliation or just a continuation of the status quo. He also defended Mr. Johnson being on holiday as the crisis unfolded, saying that he had been in constant contact with the Prime Minister over the Christmas break on a whole range of foreign policy issues. Oh, there we are. He's away from his workstation, but not away from work. Shadow Foreign Secretary and Labour leadership candidate Emily Thornberry accused the Prime Minister of stunning himself, while the chief civil servant chaired 3 meetings with COBRA, the Government Emergencies Response Committee. There's always going to be something when you go away. It's to be expected. Shadow Justice Secretary Richard Bergen, who was standing to be Labour Deputy Leader, said Mr. Johnson's response was pathetic, adding that he should stand up to a US president recklessly threatening to launch a war. He's not, because apparently he's Russia's puppet, but at the same time now he's going to launch a war because he's attacking Russians' interest in the Middle East and their pipelines. At least he's not saying if elected he would establish a no-fly zone, which would definitely account to war, like Hillary Clinton was saying. So yes, it isn't really a matter of principle. It's just Orange Man bad and the enemy of Britain is my friend. They're really adopting this Corbyn base to say, yeah, if you don't like Britain, if you think it should be destroyed, if you've ever done anything bad to it, we will like you and we will welcome you in. Why not, instead of just attack us from the outside, really come inside and take us apart from the inside? That seems to be the Labour's platform at the moment. But as always, let me know what you guys think down below, if there'll be any more with this, or if it's just a slow news week and they're trying to extend the story out just to push down Johnson and Trump more. Always interested to hear what you guys have to say, so thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed your weekend, and as always, until next time, have a good one.